So this one's going to be really short. I'm doing it late. Yeah, I get it, but Blizzard canceled the second and third portions of Hunter reveal today. Something to do with wanting to respect the families of victims from the main. Uh, Something that happened in Maine last night. I don't know the details, and I assume it's because the cards have like guns or shooting in the art. Sure, I get it. Whatever. It's a little annoying because Hunter is the only class that's not getting all their reviews. So I have to wait like another 5 days, which is going to be kind of annoying. I'm not going to lie. I don't know why they didn't just straight push them to the website instead of doing all these reveals, but whatever, I guess. Anyway, yeah, so we're back. And I'm not pleased. I'm not very pleased by these four cards. In any means, I'm kind of very disappointed. I genuinely thought we would have better cards, since Hunter's been getting relatively shafted these last few expansions, and Wild, like maybe 1-2 playable cards per expansion is kind of rough compared to other classes who are getting, full expansions worth of good cards. But yeah, so here we go. Oops. Well, Spurfang. 5 mana, 2/5, Battlecry and Death Rattle, summon a random beast with costs equal to this minion's attack. I'm just going to break it down. I'm just going to break it to you. This is the worst Hunter Legendary since Tavish, and probably the third worst Hunter Legendary in the last, common era of Hearthstone, right? This card is bad, right? I don't know how else to put it. For both Standard and Wild, it's bad even. So there's next to no good hand buff in Hunter currently, at least in Standard, right? Standard has Buzzard, Hope of Quel'Thalas, and that's kind of it. And in Wild, we have Don't Feed the Animals, and that card's bad. Don't Feed the Animals is a bad card. I'm just going to say it. It is a bad card. Spurfang, I'd go out and say that if you actually go and craft this card, you are trolling yourself and your collection. If you unpack this card, I'd say that it's a safe disenchant. I cannot express just how upset I am reading this card, because it's genuinely a bad card, and I don't know what Blizzard was thinking printing this. It just makes me upset that I'm looking at this card. It is so bad. I don't even think I will be experimenting with it. That's how bad it looks, right? I just don't understand what you would ever do with this in Wild. You have to make it have 5 attack before it even has a decent effect, which is impossible. You I don't get it. I don't understand what the purpose of this card is. The only way for it to even be slightly good is when you play it with the location and then you get the Death Rattle. It'll be summon a 4-drop. Sure, that's fine, but it's so slow. It does literally nothing the turn you play it, because summoning a 2-mana minion is terrible. I can't explain enough how much I am viscerally upset that this is the legendary that Hunter got. I can't explain it enough. Okay, now to an interesting card. Saddle Up. 3 mana, epic spell. Give your minions Death Rattle. Summon a random beast that costs 3 or less. So this is relative to Spirit of the Forest, or Soul of the Forest, whatever it's called. The druid spell that summons 2/2 treants. I think the average beast from 0 mana Snowflipper Penguin to 3 mana, Mukla, 5/5, is going to be above a 2/2, the average beast, on top of any effects they have, which, Death Rattle, Divine Shield, Rush, all that. So this card is better than Soul of the Forest, right? And Soul of the Forest was a historically pretty good card, so that's nice. The issue is, what are you playing this in? Breakfast Hunter isn't necessarily a real deck. I know I've been seeing a lot of people actually experiment and try and make it work recently, and that's cool, right? But this card just doesn't really fit any good molds that are in Hunter currently. And you have to hit 3 minions for this to average out to being good, which is to being yeah, for this to average out to being good, it's just really rough. I don't know. This card, it's fine. It'll probably not be playable. Like, Egg Hunter is a deck, I guess. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't think this card sees very much play outside of that deck, and that deck is already not that good, so I don't think it sees any play. Silver Serpent. I'm just gonna take a second to breathe and let you guys read what this card says. Okay. 3 mana, Rush Poisonous, 2 mana, 2/3 Beast. Quick draw, gain immune this turn. You might ask yourself, hey, why don't you think this card's very good? Well, let's look at it this way. When the best card in the entire class of Hunter currently is Dreadscale, because of Dreadscale's ability to synergize with Serpent Bloom, why would you ever want to play Silver Serpent? Right? Silver Serpent kills 1 minion. It is understated. It doesn't deal face damage. I don't... If this card was 2 mana, we wouldn't be having this conversation, right? Because Silver Serpent at 2 mana... How do I word this? If you play Selective Breeder on turn 4 and got Silver Serpent at 2 mana, that would count as quick draw, and you could kill a minion with it, and you would still have your 2/3 poisonous with no damage done to it. But if you're doing that on turn 5, why would you not just take Dreadscale every single time? Because you're likely going to have Serpent Bloom in your hand by that time. Do you understand what I'm getting at? This card fundamentally does nothing for the Hunter class. It is outperformed by things that already exist, and it, like, aside from the quick draw effect, is just a bad minion. The quick draw effect, of course, is good. Yes, I'll admit it. You know, gain immune this turn is really good for a rush minion. Poisonous, yeah, of course, that's great. But this card just, I can't help but wonder why Blizzard printed this card and the 5-drop and thought, you know what? These cards at -1 mana were too strong. Because the 5-drop at 4 mana, you know what? If that 5-drop was 4 mana, or the Spur the Serpent, whatever his name is, I can't even remember his name because I don't care about him that much. If he was 4 mana, it would be interesting, right? Because it would be a 4 mana, 2/6 or whatever that summons 4 mana worth of stats. You know what? That would be interesting with no buffs whatsoever. That would be an interesting card. But because it is 5 mana, and turn 5 is the turn you die in Wild, that card does nothing. It doesn't help you in any situation whatsoever against any deck. That's why this card is so bad, because +1 mana really matters in Wild for an effect, right? Because if you're playing as an aggro deck, which of course, that's why you're playing Silver Serpent, to try and kill a big minion against an aggro deck, spending 3 mana to kill 1 minion in a class that has Serpent Bloom Scale just sucks so much. I can't understand Blizzard's thinking behind these cards. They all feel like they're 1 mana more than they need to be. And I'm just really upset about it, I'll be honest. Okay. Sneaky Snakes. 1 mana. Summon 2 1/1 snakes with stealth. Of course, they're going to be beasts. Oops. And they have stealth. This card is fine. It's pretty good. I'd give it, like, if I were doing a star scale, I'd give it like a 3 or a 4 maybe. It's a good card. It will see play in Wild. That's not a question. This card just makes me a little upset because, look at this. This is proof that Blizzard can print a card that does things well for current Wild decks. It synergizes with Beast Hunter because it's a 1 mana spell that summons 2 1/1 beasts. That's great. It synergizes with any other Hunter deck on the planet because it doesn't take up a beast slot for Selective Breeder. That's amazing. That's better than anything, right? And of course, this is just a straight upgrade over Alley Cat in every possible way. So it's power creeping an old card. I wouldn't say it's better than Wolpertinger, because Wolpertinger benefits from things like Scavenger's Ingenuity and Smuggler's Crate, and that's really, really strong, like genuinely strong, right? So it's not better than Wolpertinger by any means. But it is also a spell, of course, so you can run it in things like Questline Druid that has like Barns. You can run it in all spell Hunter. It synergizes with like Vicious Slither Scale, or yeah, just things of that nature. This is a good card. It will be playable, but I'm genuinely just disappointed in the other 3 cards. It just makes me very upset because Hunter started this expansion so strong with, Felderin, the Lost, and Messenger Buzzard, which were so enticing, right? But then we get those cards, and they just don't do anything. And I know Blizzard's reasoning for making Silver Serpent understat is like, oh, because of Messenger Buzzard. But you don't make a card bad hoping that another card makes it good. You make a card good hoping that another card makes it better. That's another reason why I always argue that cards like Silver Serpent aren't good with Harpoon Gun, because Harpoon Gun is a card that makes good cards better. It doesn't make bad cards good, right? So, yeah. Overall, my personal, and I'd say it, good opinion about these Hunter cards is don't play those first 3 in any Hunter deck in Wild unless you're just actually trying to lose. And then Sneaky Snakes is just a good card in any Hunter deck. Yeah, so I have expressed my opinion on these 4 cards. I'm very upset with them, I'm not going to lie. But I'd like to know what you guys think about them. If I missed anything that can make, these 3 abysmal cards look better, do anything, that would be really nice. But, that's me, Color, the Hunter player, ranting about Hunter cards getting shafted every expansion, but it just turns out that way, Hunter gets 1 good card in expansion, and then we got a deal. But eventually Hunter will be good. Eventually Hunter will be good in Wild, guys. One day. Well, if you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll check you guys out next time. Hopefully, I'll get all the Hunter cards soon, so then I can maybe, just maybe, not lose my mind.